Hi, I'm Albert Lee and you're watching the Guitar Mania channel. Enjoy.
Albert, welcome to Vienna.
Oh, thank you.
It's a great honor to have you in Austria.
Thank you. It's nice to be back again, yeah.
You played in Germany last night. How was the show?
Oh, it was good, yeah. Yeah, it was a small club, but a great audience. It's a new place that I hadn't been to before. It went really well.
And you had a long drive from Germany to Austria, I've heard.
Yeah, it was a long drive, yes.
How many hours? 6?
6-7 hours.
6,
I mean, but I love the scenery, you know. But we had a little bit of rain at times, you know. So.
Have you ever thought how much time you've spent, like in a tour bus, in the whole of your career?
Oh well, you know, it's that old story, you know, when they asked the Rolling Stones, you know, how long about how long they've been on the road, you know, and they said, well. You know, we've been playing for about 5 years, but we did about 35 years of traveling. You know,
Yeah.
So it's, you know, that's the hard part about it.
And I understand tomorrow you're going to Uppsala, and then you're even doing a short detour, as Jim told us before, to Israel before returning to Germany on that tour.
That's right, yeah. I hadn't been to Israel since the early 80s. I was there with Eric Clapton, a couple of trips there, you know, so it'd be interesting to go back now. I'm sure it's changed quite a bit.
Fantastic. And can you tell us a bit about what songs you play on this tour?
Well, I do a lot of covers, you know. You know, I've written a couple of things, but mostly it's stuff that I've you know, songs that I like by other artists, and I hope that I give them, you know, a different inflection. You know, I give it my interpretation of these songs, and of course most of the songs feature the guitar in some way or other. And what not a lot of people know that I play piano quite a bit too, because that was my first instrument, you know. So I do love to play the piano. Actually,
that was one of my questions: is what attracts you in playing the piano, as opposed to playing the guitar?
Well, you know, as I said, I started on the piano, but then you know, the early days of rock and roll, I desperately wanted to play the guitar. But I still played a little bit, but played the piano a little bit. But I didn't really play it much throughout the 60s. And then I got together with a band called Head, Hands and Feet. And they wrote a lot of ballads, which were fairly complicated, you know. And I had to sort of relearn to play the piano. And that's when it started to really improve at that time, you know. And now it's something I really enjoy doing, you know, because you know, I've been playing the guitar for 58, 59 years, almost 60 years. So, you know, sometimes I get a bit fed up with it. I want to try something else, you know. But the piano, because I don't play it so much, I really look forward to,
really?
You know, to playing the piano, especially getting into a venue like we're in tonight. You know, there's a beautiful Fazioli piano up there, you know. I haven't tried it yet, but, you know, it gives you inspiration when you find a fantastic instrument like
And
that.
you're self-taught on the piano, I understand.
Well, I had piano lessons for a couple of years, but I never did read. I've forgotten how to read. But, you know, I don't think it's that important, because you know, I play what I like, and I guess I'd be a bit more advanced if I could read some things and to learn that way rather than learning by ear.
Well, after having heard you play, being more advanced, you're such an accomplished piano player. It's really impressive.
Well, you're very kind. Yeah.
I don't know how it is with you. I just find that the piano is a much more logical instrument than the guitar, for instance. Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. When I think about music, I don't think about the guitar fretboard. You know, I picture a keyboard because I can see all the harmonies there. It just makes so much more sense to me, you know.
Also the way the guitar is tuned, of course, and like
yeah. But you know, things are easier on guitar because you once you learn it in one position, you just move it up and down, you know. But that's not possible with the piano. Each key has its own idiosyncrasies, you know, so it makes it a little harder. But
talking about keys, what are your favorite keys playing on the guitar?
Well, any key that has some open strings. I love the resonance of open strings. So,
E, A,
E, A, D, G, and F. You know, and then if you start thinking about other keys, then it makes you think a little differently. You know, but I like to utilize open strings, especially if I'm playing like a bluegrass style. You know, because you like to get the those extra strings in there, and to get like a banjo player does. You know, to get certain sounds you can only get in certain keys when you do that.
One thing you presumably don't get with the piano is this percussive element that the guitar has.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
Would you agree with that? I'm not sure.
I mean, there's obviously the great dynamics with an acoustic piano, but no, with an electric piano, you can get a lot of percussive sounds. You know, all that you ever need, you know.
Why do you think so many people, and why have you been in the first place attracted to play the guitar, and why do you think that the guitar keeps such an attractive instrument to play for young people?
Well, I think it's, it goes from period to period and with band to band. You know, when I started playing in the mid to late 50s, it was all rock and roll. And then in the early 60s, everybody was trying to tell us that's no, it's going to be all ballad singers now. You know, the music's going to change, and it did for a while, but then thank goodness the Beatles and the Stones came along, and they were playing rock and roll, and thank goodness it kept going from there. So each generation they discover their guitar heroes, and. A lot of people have moved on from me. There are a lot of young guys out there that are doing things that I don't do, and it keeps the young guys interested.
You're absolutely famous, of course, for your hybrid picking and chicken picking technique, and everyone's raving about your soloing techniques. But I would be really interested in how you think. How important rhythm playing is, and particularly how you can improve your rhythm playing, because it's sometimes maybe it's such a neglected part of being a musician. Oh,
it is. Yeah, no, I think that rhythm's very important, and I think I learned that from the Everly Brothers, and of course I worked with the Everly Brothers for 26 years, but their acoustic playing, or Don's acoustic playing, was very important, and also. Chuck Berry, when he was doing his rhythm parts, that was a really important part of the song, because it really drove it along. And the same with Buddy Holly, his rhythm playing. He played really a lot of his solos were like rhythm solos, So I think it's very important.
Albert, you celebrated with Eric Clapton at the Guitar Crossroads Festival. What was it? Some years ago, your 50th anniversary in 2010. It was actually the 50th stage anniversary. I mean, you have had such an impressive career. What are the most memorable moments when you look back in your career?
Lots of important periods there. I think a big moment for me was joining Emmylou Harrison Art Band, because that was a band that was playing really great country music, country rock, and I was living in America then, and I was accepted by the American audiences. Prior to that, I'd been playing in England, and I didn't really feel like I was appreciated as much, because everybody was going towards the blues at that time. that was the important thing, to get the vibrato. But you know, I like the blues. You know, I love Freddie King, B.B. King, but I was also listening to great country swing players. You know, so that was what I wanted to do. But when I went to America, they just loved what I was doing, and I thought, wow, this is great. That was a really important time for me. You know, and you know, of course, playing with my heroes, the Everly Brothers, and playing with Clapton as well. You know, they're all just parts of my life that they've all been important. You know, as far as concerts go, I think maybe the concert for George was a really big moment. You know, and the Everly Brothers first concert at the Royal Albert Hall. You know, these are big evenings for me. You know.
Looking ahead, we understand you will be touring with Peter Asher soon.
That's right. We've been doing this for a couple of years now, and it was suggested to us, you know, and I said, well, why don't you two guys go out, just the two of you with acoustic guitars, and you both tell great stories about, you know, when you were started and all the people you work with. And so we gave it a try, and people loved it, you know, and so we're doing more of it. Let's go. Yeah, we're doing a tour of England for about 3 or 4 weeks, and it'll be fun.
Albert, look, one last question. If you were to give one piece of advice to a young musician who wants to make a living out of being a professional musician, what would that be?
Well, you know, believe me, it's hard to make a living in this business. You know, there's so many great players out there who aren't doing a lot. Maybe it's their attitude, I don't know, but I think it's really important to start out. You learn to play the instrument, and of course you do that at home. But there are a lot of great players who only play in their bedrooms, you know. And it's really important to be able to play and work off of other musicians and bounce off of them, you know. And a lot of young players don't learn to do that. They're all focused on how many pedals they've got and learning that latest lick they've heard from John Petrucci or whatever, you know. And so, you know, which is good, you know. But, you know, I started out by copying guitar players, but it was very soon that I was able to utilize what I'd learned there and make it my own. And I think that's an important thing.
That's a very good point, but I think I want to ask you another question. Is like I saw another interview where you were talking about Eric Clapton, where Eric Clapton fired his whole band, but he kept you during the whole time.
Twice. Yeah. He did that twice. Yeah,
didn't he?
Yeah.
And you have a reputation for being how did they put it? Like a gentleman who does not know the meaning of the word ego.
Well, I've heard that before.
Would you think that? I mean, I'm not sure whether you agree, but maybe we're living in a time where ego is so important. Everything is about the self and stuff.
Oh yeah, I know.
Do you think that this is a character trait that helps being successful in the music business?
I guess it does. I think if I'd been more forward and forceful and probably had more confidence because of that, maybe I would have been further on in this business than I am, you know.
On the other hand, you're a 2 times Grammy winner.
Well, that's true, yeah. But, you know, though, there's a lot of luck involved in that. You know, there are a lot of Grammy winners who, in my opinion, are not, you know, I was lucky to win. Well, actually, I was nominated 5 times, and I won 2 out of 5. You know, so which is great. You know, but it's also very political too, the Grammys. You know, so I'm very happy to have those 2, and I don't know if another one would ever come my way again. You never know, but you know, it's nice to say, well, yeah, I have 2 Grammys. Yeah.
Well, we hope another Grammy will be coming your way, and we wish you all the best and good luck for the future.
I hope so too.
Thanks, Albert.
Thank you.